My name is Daniel Lawrence. I was born and raised here in Tulare, California, and currently I'm a student at COS studying law. My goal is to eventually become a lawyer. And I'm also a member of the ACLU and sport and rap, the Western Regional Advocacy Project, housing for the homeless. And right now I do have an apartment, but I've only had it for a few months. And that was through the help of family services. If it wasn't for them, I'd still be out on the street right now. And I've been homeless off and on for a few years. And this last time, it was a year straight. And what made it very difficult is when I found myself homeless is I knew it was a dead end. I didn't see a way out. I thought it through. For example, how am I supposed to get a job if I smell, I don't have clean clothes, I don't have a phone, I don't have an address. And so I really didn't see a way out of it. And I already suffered from depression, and that just made it worse. Luckily, though, I talked with another woman who was homeless, and she directed me to Kingsview, which is a mental health facility. And there, I met up with Chevelle, and Kingsview has been helping me out a great deal, and they gave me hope. And it was actually through Chevelle. She linked me with the ACLU. One of the reasons I originally went to the ACLU was because I was given a citation, and the citation was simply for sitting along the track. And it was for disorderly conduct. And one of my biggest issues with it, I wanted to fight it, but one of the problems is that they required kind of like a deposit. I had to put up $100 because the citation was for $100. And I had to put up that $100 in order to go to court. Now they said you can get it back if I win my case. However, for people such as myself in my position with no income, homeless, there's no way I can come up with $100 for justice. And so with the help of the ACLU, we worked on helping to solve that problem. And recently the law was amended, we went to city council, and now they have the option for a fee waiver for those who are homeless or have little to no income or simply cannot afford to put that money down. So that was a great victory. And a lot of the problems the homeless face here in Tulare is there are no shelters, there are no safe places to sleep. Sleep is a necessity of life. You can't just walk around 24/7 and never sleep. Eventually, even if you tried, you're going to drop. And at which point, you're breaking the law. And, I found that to be wrong. And also, the homeless don't have a home to go to, so they're always out on the street, so they got to be somewhere. So that's why you usually see them in public places. Because that's about the only place where they can go. And, they've got to live and be somewhere. And like myself, I was born and raised in this town. And to be treated and to feel as though I'm not welcome in my own town because I'm homeless, I was really outraged by that. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring the homeless together, you know, have them organize the Union of Hope Tulare, and that way we can represent ourselves, stand up for ourselves, speak on our own behalf. And because I knew there were advocacy groups and all that, but you weren't hearing much from the point of view of someone who was homeless. You know, I didn't see any group where the homeless were banded together to stand up for themselves. And so I thought that's exactly what we need. And so, you know, we've been going ever since. And I have no intention of stopping, I have no intention of quitting. I'm committed to improving things here in Tulare for the homeless. You know, that way everyone has a safe place to sleep. Storage lockers are very important, and you may think, you know, personal possessions may not be very important, but you got to keep in mind some people, for example, are mentally ill, such as myself, who have to take medication, and one of the complaints I've heard is people end up getting their medication stolen. And so when these people desperately need that, they need a safe place to store it so they have it available to them. Let's see. Also, showers, clean clothes, things like that. Is not only good for health, but if a person wants to get off the street and get a job and rejoin society, you know, they need things like that. Otherwise, they're stuck where they're at. There's not really a way out. I got lucky as far as having an apartment, and there's still no guarantee that I'll be able to stay in that apartment or stay maintaining all I've worked hard for. But I intend to do my very best. And essentially it can happen to anybody. When I became homeless, it wasn't because I was a drug addict, not because I was a criminal. I have a clean record. And I don't do drugs. I rarely drink alcohol. I haven't actually even so much as had a beer in several months. The stigma associated with homelessness is wrong, and I'm living proof of that. I'm not a dangerous person. If anything, because I have social anxiety, I'm scared of people. You know, so, you know, I'm more scared of you than you are of me. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. And the homeless people, when I first found myself out on the streets, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how to survive. And they really took me in. And that's why I'm proud to call the homeless people here in Tulare family. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for them, I would have been lost. I mean, they showed me where to sleep. Sure, it wasn't always ideal. There was times I was sleeping behind dumpsters. I can't even describe the smell to you. It was horrible. And you know, there's times I slept out in the freezing cold. And even for a while there, I was going to COS. So I'd be out sleeping on the streets and still get up early in the morning and go to school. And you know, I was committed. But anything, there's several different options that could have happened that could have just prevented all that from happening, from being out on the street, that I wouldn't be protected from. For example, I was even arrested when I was out on the streets. Apparently I was just sleeping in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody else was breaking into cars near where I was sleeping, and so I ended up being arrested. Now, if for some reason I couldn't prove my innocence and that stuck, I probably wouldn't be where I am even though I was innocent. If, you know, I really couldn't prove it, there's not a whole lot I could do. And so, yeah, a lot of the homeless, they're great people. Can't say that for everyone. I mean, you take any group of people from any walk of life, and you know, you're gonna have those shining stars, and then you're gonna have those bad apples in every walk of life. So we're not all the same, and none of you are all the same. So to give someone that label, I mean, and the stigma just does not apply. I mean, you can't just blanket everybody with that title. Just because they have a home doesn't make them a certain type of person. Doesn't make them good, doesn't make them bad. They're just without a house. In fact, I call the city of Tulare my home, which is why I prefer the term houseless, because I never felt homeless, because Tulare is my home. You know, whether I like it or not, better or for worse, you know, this is my home. And that's why I've decided to stay and fight for it. And fight for others who deserve the same. I'm really glad that all of you can make it, each and every one of you, to address this issue. And hopefully we can all work together and you know, provide a better future for the entire community. Thank you.
My name is Ella. Homeless on Children of God, I know that because I was homeless. I was married in middle class. I stayed in the suburbs. I got married in 1979 to 2011. That's when my husband died. With the help of the Lighthouse Women's Shelter and Kingsview, plus churches, is why I'm standing here today. I was in shock and angry because I did not believe I am in a shelter after 33 years of marriage. I became very depressed, and with the help of the people I met and my medication, I am living day by day because it's hard not slipping back to the dark side. Some people think that the homeless people are lazy. This is not true. Many causes of lack of affordable housing, foreclosure, lost their job, lack of skills, decline in public assistance, illness and health insurance, and others, addiction, domestic violence, mental health, post-traumatic shock, and that's with the veterans. What can you do as a volunteer? Contribute, advocate, educate, respect, and pray. Some homeless have jobs, but they don't make enough to get a place to stay. That's why they're still on the streets. As for panhandlers, you should, instead of money, give them bus tickets, fast food vouchers, energy bars, or offer to buy food. What they need to do is having a free clinic, job training program, a rehab, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, secure and safe place to stay, drug and alcohol free, and respect on both parties. They need to want to help themselves also. Thank you.
My name is Matthew, and I'm not proud of this, but I've really never been homeless except out of 24 years, I've never been out longer than 6 months. So I've been in prison 34 times. So when I get out, you know, I kind of have nothing to do and no place to go. And I've been fortunate to have some good people in my life, but also, you know, with no people to help, I become desperate. And I'm sure the police officer was me. And this is the first time I've been out longer than a year. However, though, and I'm, you know, homeless, I don't know if it's most of the people, but you become desperate, nobody wants to help, nobody wants to do anything, and it comes to, for me, easy way, you know, easy stay in prison, you know, and I'm not proud of it, but you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, if you guys are out there trying to help the homeless and whatnot, and I encourage it, and I try to help best I can with what I got. And here I am.
Prison's a very, very expensive form of public housing, right? $62,000 a year for one person. So, okay, let's go on with Chevelle. You want to come up?
Hello. My name is Chevelle, and I work for Kingsview Mental Health. But I didn't always work for mental health. I used to be homeless. I used to stay at the St. John's River in Visalia under a tree. I got Section 8 housing eventually after some incarceration. And with that opportunity, I went back to school, got my associate's, got my bachelor's degree, and now I'm getting my master's. I couldn't afford college and housing, and all that without help. And the programs are great, the Lighthouse, CSET, Family Services, everything is good, but there needs to be a little bit more, and they need to not be so compartmentalized. It's not like we don't have the money for it. I mean, I know that homeless, they use an increased amount of services with the emergency room, which the county does pick up. I'm just a social worker, but I do work for mental health, and I know a stay in the psychiatric hospital in Visalia is $1,500 a day.
Wow.
And that's just one day. And, yeah, I mean, it could be spent with lockers, it could be spent with more programs like the Lighthouse and Family Services and CSET and the Continuum of Care. We're spending the money, but we're just spending it in the wrong areas. Prison, that's a really costly alternative, emergency rooms and services. But one of the things that the money being spent causes barriers, because mental health, yeah, a big thing is medication, and if they don't have lockers and they don't have any place to have it, then that causes an issue. I remember when I was little, my dad had broken his leg, and he was homeless, so we dropped him off at the KOA campground in Visalia. And he was on his crutches, and as soon as he got out of the car, he got jumped for his medication. And that was years ago, but it's still kind of the same. When I worked for the county, and we helped a lot of homeless, we were non-traditional. But because the county does pay for things like emergency room services and psychiatric hospital, there's less money for non-traditional services that try to help. And now there's talk of changing our program to more traditional services, and that makes me sad, but the county's spending the money in other places. So, but yes, I do work for Kingsview, and it is a mental health, and right now it's still non-traditional. I'll go on the trail, under the bridge, I'll talk to people, I'll work with them too. I mean, they don't have a phone, they don't have an address, it's hard to give them services, and I just will tell them, come every day, just check. We might have news for you, we might, nothing, Social Security, we get them the government phones, and then they can have a phone to get a hold of, and, it's a challenge, but as long as there's people willing to try, then good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Nathan Terry, and I'm the director of the Lighthouse Rescue Mission Family Center. But I moved to Tulare in 1999 homeless, addicted. I was lost. I mean, I came from Oakland, and I moved to the little city, out of the big city, to make a change, to stop going to prison, to get my family in a better situation. And when I first moved here, I went to prison. And I was like, my wife and kids were homeless, and I had to have them live with a family member while I was in prison. And I made a decision when I was in prison. I prayed, and I said, Lord, you didn't bring me from Oakland to come to this city to be the same person I was there. You have some kind of plan for my life. And I says, you real? I'm gonna give you everything. Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. And let's see what happens here. So he told me right then and there to start a Bible study. I was like, Lord, I just want to do my time. He said, start a Bible study. I was in prison. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, so I started a Bible study in prison. I got in the middle of the dorm and yelled and screamed, anybody want to come to Bible study? I'm starting one. 3 people came. So the first day, it was 4 people at my Bible study. 2 weeks later, it was about 25 people. 6 months later, it was 100 people. 8 months later, it was 175 people. A year later, 250 people was in the Bible study. People were getting saved back to back to back to back. And I was like, wow. And the Lord gave me a vision, and the vision was, I seen the earth, and millions of people was under the earth, and they were pushing it up a hill. And if you look afar over the hill, up on top, there was a cross. And the meaning was, Nate, get out and start to push the entire world toward Jesus Christ. So I kept doing it. I ordained another guy because I had to get out of prison. I ordained another pastor there so he can run the thing. And I got out, and this time I took my Bible with me. Never have I done time and took my Bible home with me. But I took my Bible home with me. I took Jesus home with me. And it's been almost 15 years, and I've been serving the cross daily. Not home. I thank God I have 3 cars. I have a place to live. And I am amazed at what God does. But every day I wake up in the morning and I'm so happy to go to work. I'm so happy to cook meals for the homeless. When I see the homeless, I see myself. I'm that guy you was talking about, 1 check away from being homeless again. That's me. But I just thank God every day. So when I get up in the morning and I think of a plan, when I walk into the family center, I go in 2 hours early every day to look at all the donations and figure out the best meal I would like to eat so I can cook it up so the homeless can eat a good meal. I guarantee you go to any restaurant in this town, you can get better food at the Lighthouse Family Center because I'm going to put some love in it. So the thing I feel that this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. We have 2 washers and 2 dryers. We offer the homeless to wash up to 2 loads of laundry a week. We have a clothing pantry. We allow them to come get clothing every day. Clothing, shoes, socks, underwear. We have hygiene packets. Toothbrush, toothpaste, razors, the whole 9. We have a career center. You can go and you can fill out applications. You can do your resumes. We have always a place of prayer. If you want to get prayed for, we'll pray for you. We feed lunch. We feed breakfast from 9 to noon. And we feed lunch from noon to 3. And I'm telling you, y'all should come check out some of my lunch. I won't be playing. But we also are a resource center. We help the homeless find jobs. We help them find housing, low-income housing. We help them get into drug programs. We help them we help them get connected with mental health. I work with Kings County, so we try to help them get a counselor beside them, especially if they're having episodes and things of that nature. So I try to recognize that because the thing is, knowing and understanding, knowing and understanding the mindset of homeless. If you can understand the mindset of a homeless person, then you can help them more better. Because you have to understand where they're coming from. And me, I know where they're coming from because I've walked that walk. And now, I don't just walk the walk or I talk that talk. I do it. I get up every day and try to make it better for the homeless in my community. And I love Tulare. This is my town now, so if there's anything I can do, anytime, anywhere, my phone is on 24 hours, hit me on my hip. God bless.
So we're going to move on right now to talk, hear some presentations from folks who are service providers. I know Betsy has to leave soon, so maybe you, and I know we have some folks here from CCLS. What other service providers do we have? Kingsview. So I don't know if you want to come up and do their presentation together, or just, Betsy, why don't you go first, introduce yourself, and...
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Betsy McGovern Garcia, and I've worked with the Kings Tulare Continuum of Care on Homelessness since 2008. When I started with the Continuum of Care in 2008, there were 6 units of permanent supportive housing, and the provider went bankrupt, and those units went away. So we had 0 units of permanent supportive housing here in Tulare and Kings County. Since then, we have successfully, over the years, gradually grown the funding that we have for establishing transitional and permanent housing units here in Kings and Tulare County. It was referenced by Mike that we apply for about $2 million annually. We absolutely would go in and apply for $10 or $20 million annually, but the federal government says that we can only apply for a certain amount of money. And so what we've done is we've really tried to work with our community-based groups, our providers, CSET, Family Services, Turning Point, to develop local strategies to maximize those dollars. I absolutely admit that one area that we're lacking in is participation from folks that are experiencing homelessness or have previously experienced homelessness. So I want to invite all of you to the table. Daniel, I think your story is powerful. Family Services is one of the main providers that is funded through the Continuum of Care. They operate a Tulare County-wide permanent supportive housing program. They have a shelter here in Tulare for women and children that are victims of domestic violence. So if we can get folks like Daniel and any other individuals who have experienced homelessness to come to our meetings and help guide us as we're making those decisions, absolutely, we would very much appreciate that. So we'll be in touch to make some of those arrangements. I went ahead and put together a flyer just because I think the city of Tulare has a tremendous opportunity through the faith-based community, and I'll leave these outside, but with the association of churches that exists here, I think there's a tremendous opportunity to get those networks together, to put together a cold weather shelter model. There are a lot of communities that have done that. Silicon Valley has a rotating shelter system where every month a different church steps forward and they open their doors, and the members of that congregation coordinate that month all of the shelter, the meals, the supplies, the hygiene kits, everything. And then that shelter just rotates throughout the community to the different churches. What that does is it brings a higher level of awareness to the community because you're touching the lives of so many different congregations. So they're able to connect with folks and hear their stories and realize, you know what, this is my cousin, this is my sister, this is my brother, this could be me. So any way that the Continuum of Care can support that effort, we're absolutely available. We're available to facilitate meetings, bring folks together, do some of those things. A lot of communities use their National Guard armories to do those types of things, so that's another resource that could be looked at here. One thing that the COC does is we coordinate the annual Project Homeless Connect event. Absolutely, it's only a one-year event, so we acknowledge that it's not sufficient to meet the ongoing needs of the local community, but it's a one-day, one-stop event where folks that are experiencing homelessness can come and get free IDs, free birth certificates, prescriptions for eyeglasses, medical services, clothing, all of those types of things. Kingsview, CSET, Family Services, Lighthouse Rescue Mission are all present at that event connecting folks with services. So that event this year is January 29th. We hope that if you haven't previously been involved with the event, that you reach out and get involved with that event. There's a local committee here in Tulare that's putting that together, and Lighthouse, I'm sure, is on that effort in Family Services. So if you need any information about that, we're available. We can connect folks. And just in general, I want to thank you. There absolutely is a lack of affordable housing resources. There's not enough money coming in to develop new units. We're working to use a housing first model, which basically works with folks to get them in their apartments so they're stable, they can take a shower, they've had a good night's rest so they can make logical decisions, and then connect them with other supports, counseling and job training, and access to clothes so they can be successful in interviews. So all of those things, the housing first model is something that we're really focused on and looking for additional opportunities for folks in the community. Our website, maybe Pam can just write it up, is kingstularecoc.org. There's a form on our website to sign up to volunteer at Project Homeless Connect. Our meetings are the fourth Thursday of the month at the office in Visalia, and all of that information's on the website. So we look forward to continuing to work with you all. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Rocio and I am from CSET. CSET does have a permanent supportive housing program. One of the issues that was mentioned earlier was that funding. It's very limited, so unfortunately, as soon as we get money, those units are already filled and we do have a wait list. So one of the issues is funding, hoping that we can get more of that. Another one of the big issues is, like you mentioned, there are no homeowners here or landlord or property managers. It's actually very difficult for us that once we have clients and they're ready to go, it's finding a place, because a lot of the owners or property managements, they want good credit. They want the person to be making 2.5 times the income for the rent. They're looking at rental history. So unfortunately, a lot of the homeless maybe have bad credit or bad rental history because they haven't been able to, pay off the rent, or they have some type of addiction on their background. So that is one of the problems that we are facing right now. It looks like we've been able to work with a property owner with Vicon. But even with that, we're getting some issues, more of, they didn't think it was going to be, they were thinking that CSET was going to be fully responsible. Unfortunately, as mentioned, there are some bad apples that we try our hardest to try to help them maintain the unit, not damage it. But it is very hard, and we would like to see more support from property management and owners, and maybe the city getting involved to offer incentives to work with programs like this.
Hello, my name is Patsy. I'm from the SSI Advocacy Unit. We assist people who are mentally or physically disabled. We do work with a lot of the homeless. A lot of the reason why people do become homeless is because they're not physically or mentally able to work. So we assist them with, of course, getting on Social Security is not an easy thing. So our job is to try to prove their case, try to get them, hooked up to services that can assist them with their physical or mental disability. But that's the service that we provide. I work for Tulare County. I do have some flyers that I'll put in the back, so it kind of describes a little bit what we do. And but yes, we do. I do work a lot with the homeless. We'll go up to the Oval, like Rocio said, or I think it was Chevelle. It's hard to help somebody when they're homeless and you're trying to find them. You don't have an address. You don't have a phone number to get a hold of them. So we do try to help them get a phone. A lot of them stay, it's like, okay, we'll ask them, where's your usual site? Like, where do you sleep? You stay at the Oval. So we'll kind of look for them there. But again, just wanted to let you know a little bit about our services. And if you want to know more, I'll have flyers in the back with our 800 number. If you guys have any questions, you can give us a call.
Hi everybody, I'm Anna Moore Goodwin and this is Kathleen Keating. I'm a staff paralegal and she's a staff attorney with Central California Legal Services, otherwise known as the local legal aid office. So we provide a number of services to our low-income community, only to low-income persons. We are housing ladies, so we help anything that has to do with housing, you're a landlord and what are my rights. But the one thing that we've learned over the years is that our clients never have just one problem. They have a multitude of problems. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming to see us. So we have other advocates in our office that help with other things. We have advocates that help with what we call public benefits. So it's problems with your food stamps, your welfare, your cash aid, your unemployment, your Social Security. We have advocates that can help get you established, or if you're being kicked off the program, they can look at it and see if things are proceeding the way they should be. We have consumer people who help when you're being sued by your credit card. We have domestic violence advocates. So we have a lot of people involved trying to help. We even have a new unit that helps with human trafficking. So we do a lot of stuff that helps with our community, and we're all trained to kind of like cross-interview. So what's going on with you? You come in today with your UD, but how did you get to this point that you're getting evicted? You having income problems? Let's route you over to somebody to see if they can take a look at that and see if we can fix it. Am I going too fast?
No.
Oh, okay. So that's our world. This is where we work, is in housing. So people call us with, hey, what does a 3-day notice mean? I got a 30-day notice, is this fair? I lost my job, and now my landlord hit me with a 3-day, and I don't have any money. What's gonna happen to me after these 3 days are up? Is it fair for my landlord, who's mad at me because I couldn't pay the rent, to come take the door off the hinges? We get that. Gee, I just moved in here on the homeless program. I asked my landlord to fix my roof because it's raining and I don't want it to rain on Christmas, and I got evicted. So, you know, that's the little room that we work in. So, pass it over to you. You have anything to add?
Oh yeah, we also help people who might have their Section 8 vouchers terminated or be
Public housing.
Yeah, public housing issues.
I can't think of anything else. We brought some flyers. I have them in English and Spanish. We put them on the back table. There's a nice little laundry list in there with the things that we can help with. We help with tax issues. We help with a lot of stuff, but everything's geared towards the low-income community. That's it.
Thank you. There's a lot of pieces out there, huh? Seems like there's some connective stuff that's missing, connective tissue there. We also wanted to hear from the religious community, the church community. You know, we've heard from the Lighthouse, we've heard from Mr. Terry, and we heard from Paul. Is there anybody else from the religious community that would like to share? Maybe Jana, would you like to share?
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Janice Lindy. I'm the outreach chair for First Lutheran Church right here. 5 years ago, we came up with an idea and said, let's feed them. You know, simple as that. And so now we feed in Zumwalt Park twice a month anybody who's hungry. Now that isn't just homeless. We feed welfare moms, we feed the working poor, everybody. Because the working poor are, like you said, they're just that close. The food stamps run out, it's not enough. We've had kids come and say, oh man, a real meal. I've been eating top ramen for the last 10 days. So we provide a nutritious meal. We have had Tulare Community Health Clinic out the last couple of times giving flu shots. They've also brought their outreach people for Covered California to sign people up for Medi-Cal. One of the things is, we don't own what we do out there. We do it, but we also will welcome anybody else who wants to come out, set up a table and talk to people or provide another service while we're doing this. This is where they're gathering. We welcome you. I would like to see a comprehensive list that is given out to people like us that are out there doing that they can give out and say, this is where you can go and get help. We have a short list, but we need a comprehensive list. I think that would be important, because they don't know where to go. And we don't know exactly where to send them either. So, but we do our best. And every week before we feed, I take flyers around to the Lighthouse, to emergency aid, to the welfare motels, to the homeless camps, to the, I go out and pass them out. I walk the trail. They're not scary. If you treat people with respect, they're going to respect you back.
Amen.
If you go up and say, excuse me, ma'am, here's a place where you can get a free meal. Sir, how many times, you know, do you go up to the homeless, and, you know, it's, take them away. You invite them to church and say, I can't go dressed like this. Yeah, you can come here. I know there are a lot of churches though that it's, you know, it's like, no, you're not too clean. Or, yeah, your clothes are kind of ratty. You know, we have to get beyond that.
Yes.
So, anyway, that's it.
My name is Jose Camilo. I'm the pastor here for Hispanic Church, planting a new church with the First Lutheran Church, renting the building. At the same time, we are trying to develop a child care center behind the same place we were together minutes ago. I can find the connection, but we are trying to support parents that decide to go for a study or for work through the center. We are just working with kids from 2 to 6 years old. Anyway, they are going to school after 5 usually. But if any way we can serve it for somebody here, just you can come in and we can try to support that. Probably Jana forgot the food bank. The beginning of the food bank.
Yeah.
So since December 2.
No, we pushed it to January. 'Cause
Okay.
We're having trouble finding a location. We are working with Community Food Bank to do one of their neighborhood marketplaces. And where they bring in 10,000 pounds of food, produce, and we just give it away. We tried to arrange it with Zumwalt Park, with Parks and Recreation, and they said no, because they don't want it to turn into the Oval. So, we're trying to find another location. So
That
it'll be
might
in,
be, that's, would be St. Paul that is making that decision.
yeah.
Well, in the same way, you're fast. We are managing the food bank in Tipton for another Spanish church plant there. And usually we serve people that are living like homeless life. And we try to involve them in the work, to serving like volunteers. So we will love that some of our people, community, can involve with us together here at the right moment to begin the food bank too. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'll now ask Captain Merrill to come up and share his story and experiences from the police's point of view.
Well, I'm not a captain yet.
Oh, I always give you the wrong title.
It's okay. I'm Sergeant Greg Merrill with the Tulare Police Department, and thank you for inviting me. I know I've worked with you and several others in this room, and it's tough for me to say that we do the best we can to promote what we're trying to get accomplished today. Everybody that we talk to, the Tulare Police Department, if you want to put it in relation to the homeless, is that every officer is different. Every homeless person is different that we contact. So every officer that just got done handling a traumatic child case and then is dispatched to a homeless person might not treat that homeless person as a fresh first call and buy them a cup of coffee. And I'm not going to say that we do that all the time, but I will tell you that that does happen. And what we try to do is work with all of this. And I have learned since I've been in here, and I will use Nathan Terry as an example, that there is a lot that we do in Tulare. And I praise everybody that does reach out and help. And we don't, the papers say everything that we do, and that's only arrest and taken to jail, which is unfortunate, because on the flip side, we don't put in the paper everything that we do, everybody here, and that doesn't hit the papers. Everybody focuses on the bad. And the bad, as you know, turn on the TV. And the TV, you're not going to see, hey, everybody came together today to promote how we can all get together as a community and make Tulare better. You have a great story. And it's unfortunate that you got a ticket, I'm sorry, but at least you can talk about it. And then you can tell someone, hey, here's what we need to do to try to fix it. So I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying, okay, it's good, because look at what you can do today. And good for you for going back to school. That's how I look at it. It's not like I was raised with money and everything else. I came up and I have my own story, and I'm not going to share that. But I will tell you that it wasn't easy for me sometimes too. So I can relate, and I do see the kids. But the success stories too is that I like to stop by and I like to see Nathan, and I like to go to the Continuum Care and talk to Katie. I like to talk to other people that are working with Kingsview. I'll stop in there and just say hi and how things are doing. Because what that does for us as the police department is I can take back and I can share, here's what's going on, here's what's happening downtown, and here's what's happening in other parts, and how can we fix it or help it. I will tell you this, is that Jenna?
Yeah.
Jenna, great point. The homeless, and what I have done is I put out emails to our troops, is that before we leave, talk, do anything, before we stop our interview or anything else with a homeless subject, transient, or someone that needs help, is that we ask them, do you know where to go to get help? No. No. The panhandlers that we see over and over and over, panhandling in the Footsco area, they don't know. So that is a good plan to do that. I know that we developed and we handed out at city council meeting when you were there. I put that together, and we were handing those out. And it's just the willingness of that person to accept the help, to go to that place to finally say, I'm done. I want the help. And I hope we can understand that, because those folks that don't want the help, that continue to drink and get belligerent, and I know that we've seen them, that's where we come in, but that's where we're also put in the paper where they made another arrest, and then here we go again. So I hope you understand that. But
I have to tell you, in 5 years, we've only had to call the police once at our meals in the park.
I know, and that's always good over there.
Yeah.
I pass by it and everything else, and good for you. I mean, really, outstanding. And that's a good thing, because it brings them together in a good way that they know that they have to behave, if you want to say. And that's just, I have to use that word. I mean, they do, because if they don't, you who organizes it doesn't want to screw it up, so you have to call on them. So that's a good thing. But anyway, the police department's here to help and to take ideas and to develop them and try to work with everybody and to make it a better place to live and to promote, basically a safer place where the guy sleeping on rails and trails or is at night, that guy walks all the way from rails and trails because it's the non-transient and it's the person walking that decides that they want to beat this guy up. And so safe housing and everything else that comes into play, that is true. But I can tell you, and I'm not going to speak on anybody's behalf, that's being addressed. And I know that there'll be opportunity probably for some people to speak about that. And I commend everybody in the city of Tulare. And I think that sometimes when we get together like this, folks that Tulare only has this, they don't realize that we actually have this. And that's what we're here to promote today and to get together. So any questions or?
Does anybody have any questions? Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.